The anonymous man, thank you so much for joining me. We have to keep your identity sealed due to your commercial popularity and a few conflicts. We won't go into any detail there, but you won a 13% on the Betfair Hub last year, which is incredible. That is elite pro punting. So we're very lucky to have you back this year. No salary cap bump either, which is good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here. Like Wilson from Home Improvement, I'll always be hidden, but hopefully always have some wise words too.
Exactly. Now we pay attention. You've helped us with a season preview before the first start of this season, and then after this COVID mess, we've got your thoughts on the shortened season, which we're going to talk through today. So the flag. Let's just jump into it. Richmond obviously in the market, Collingwood, West Coast, GWS, that's the top end. What do you like for the Premiership market in this shortened season?
Yeah, I'm all over GWS, was all over GWS before, and they've shortened up even further. I think they have a great list. 3 of the last 4 premiers finished 6th or worse this previous season, so you can make that jump. Of course, they made it to the grand finals. So they may have been kind of hitting that peak at the back end of last year anyway. They've played finals 4 straight seasons, so they're not lacking any kind of finals experience. Great list. Stephen Caniglio, Callan Ward, Jeremy Cameron, the reigning Coleman Medal winner. I think they're winners from the revamp draw too. Haven't got any elite opponents in the first 5 weeks. They can get off to a real big start. Yeah, the only weakness I see in GWS is mental. I think they can, if they can close that gap between their best and their worst, they are going to be right in it come. Usually you'd say that the last weekend in September, but who knows when it's going to be.
Exactly right. I think that the market is on board with your thoughts there. They're beyond $10 into sevens at the moment as we get ready for round 2. It just seems like that natural maturity and the growth that they have in the list. Plenty of mongrel. They're probably due a bit of luck, to be fair. I don't know how they got to the grand final given all the injuries of last year. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I think there are. You need to be seasoned, but we've kind of moved away from what it was kind of 10 years ago, where you'd have these mini dynasties. The Brisbane Lions or the Hawthorn kind of outfit of just rolling. This can kind of a bit more fluctuation. Same with the Dogs breaking a long drought. Then Richmond, of course, the first time around. I think GWS just are ready for that. Ready for that leap.
Yeah, I've heard that from many a smart judge. Well, let's get on to the Tigers. Obviously, 1-2 out of the last 3 flags. Hard to knock. I think they're trading about $5.20 on the exchange at the moment. What are your thoughts there?
Team to beat, absolutely deserved favourites. Very hard to win 2 in a row, though. I think these days. Not sure that the hunger's going to be there again. We saw it fade. After they won their last one. Happy to lay them at the quote. Would rather be on them than Collingwood. Of course, Collingwood near the top of the market as well. I think they're a better proposition than Collingwood, but I don't see a lot of value in those 2 at the moment.
Yeah. So Richmond traded at 20s last year, which is incredible, but we all know about their slow start with Rance and a few of the other guys having injuries. And GWS got to 38s. So that just sort of reflects you don't need to go too hard too early, but GWS seem to be the one that you want on side at the current quote.
Yep, absolutely. And, there's also, some value lower down the market in the kind of, back to lay market. And I like Geelong. You can get, I think around the $17 mark. I'd be taking there at anything kind of north of $11 at the moment, truth be told.
Yeah, wow. You just like the start of their draw, or what's going on for the Cats?
Yeah, look, they benefit in 2 big ways for me. They've got essentially 4 home games to start the season. They've got 3 at the Cattery and 1 at the MCG. They really should be winning those next 4. And they've also got the most players on their list over the age of 27. They've got a very, by AFL standards, an old list, 17 players over 27. They're going to benefit from a shortened season, from breaks within the season. They're going to be able to manage their list a lot better. It's not going to be stretched as far. I like them to really push on. And look, they'll be a much shorter quote in a month's time.
Yep, fair enough. There you go. That's the beauty of the exchange. Get on. Back and lay or laying back might be the play with Richmond. You might get a better price than the 5s, and then the Cats you want to be on now and then potentially get out later on. The Weagles, you like them for the minor premiership?
Yeah, they're right in the premiership mix, of course, as well. But I think they are going to benefit from getting a lot of their away games. Yeah, a lot of away games at very winnable games in on the Gold Coast, so neutral venues as well, not playing legit away games. They're going to go back to Perth. They're going to have, they've got a great home record. They not only win, they cover at home. They've covered 62% of games at home since 2011, which is pretty remarkable. No team's got a better home record. They've won 40 out of 61 in the last 5 seasons at home. They've won 16 games in 4 of the last 5 seasons. They're always around the mark for the minor premiership. Very happy to see them finishing top of the ladder regular season.
And any value in the top 4 or the top 8 market? Anything you're spotting there?
Yeah, don't mind the Dogs in the top 4 mark. I think they've bolstered their defence a bit with Alice Key. I don't mind their early season fixture draw there. Yeah, they were the real kind of regression, bump up team from the team within the 8. They finished within a win of their win expectation last year. Probably, better than expected by the market. And one of my old favourites, definitely not a Blues fan, but from a punting point of view, Carlton very rarely let us down. And I absolutely love them at around anything north of 350 for the top 8. They undershot their true win value by 3.5 wins in 2019. That's a big number. They're really like an 11-11 team, 10-12 team, not a 7-15 team they were. I can see them bouncing right back up. They've got a pretty good side. We'll talk about a Brownlow Medal hopeful a little later on, but they're a real team. They've avoided a lot of the mess they were in last year with their coaching dramas last year. David Teague gets a fresh slate. I'm pretty keen on the Blues this year.
Yeah, look out. They paid last year. You love backing them. Big pluses. I remember you getting 36s at the start of the week, and after you've told the bookies that it's the wrong price, it jumps about 28.5. That line always seemed to move in your favour last year.
Yeah, there's a real kind of gap in the market there, I think, of people are pretty loose around those bigger numbers, big pluses and big minuses, and you very rarely would see a team jump from 12-point favourites to 18-point favourites on a single bet or on a whim. But you kind of see that right around the 30 to 36 point mark. It can drop straight down within half an hour. So Carlton is a big plus, particularly in Melbourne, particularly in the daytime. Have a great record. Covered 80% in Melbourne day games with a start of over 3 goals. So and that goes back 9 seasons now. So we'll be riding that again throughout the entire year. So just a trend that the legacy of Carlton being ordinary from the start of the century has rolled on there. They have been ordinary for most of it, but it doesn't mean, just because you're ordinary doesn't mean you can't cover a big one.
And you love your Kurt Angles. West Coast, they're another popular pick of yours.
Yeah, look, they've got a great record at home. Mentioned it earlier. They cover 62% at home, but when they're heavily favoured, that goes north of 70%. So I'll be backing West Coast. The new home ground has got to be a little more tempered on that one, on the Carlton one. But we're starting to get some data over the last couple of years now. So I'm pretty keen on West Coast Miners, and I cannot wait for them to get back home.
Well, let's touch on that quickly. What impact, assuming that maybe half the season, potentially longer, but I'm backing about half the season is no crowds. What's that going to do to the home ground impact after this little mini zone for the next 4 weeks? What are you expecting?
Don't think the lack of a crowd has a huge impact. Of course, it plays some, particularly with some line ball umpiring decisions. I think where it's going to be important is travel. I think travel is going to be a lot more difficult for teams. I know there's a lot of charter flights in and out, but their preparation is disrupted. They're travelling day of game, leaving straight after go. Footy players are creatures of habit. Things have changed a lot, and I think that's going to have a massive impact for teams having to travel in the state. I think this hub for West Coast and Freo and the Adelaide team is actually a great benefit to them early in the season. Not only just the lack of having to go back and forth, I think is actually going to help them. And when a team like Richmond goes up to play on the Gold Coast in I think round 5, they're going to be up against it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Travelling to Perth and going through all the rigmarole and probably having less staff than you normally have. The conditions seem right for that minus and big home advantages for those teams. Potentially Brisbane. Well, I'm reluctant to bring up my favourite Bears of old. You're forecasting a bit of a slide.
Yeah, a couple of indicators there that I like to use that are big red flags for them. they made a huge leap last year. Teams that kind of do that, they call it the plexiglass principle. Teams that make a massive win leap one year tend to regress a little bit towards the mean next year, so I can see them dropping back. Not to say that it's just they're a bad team. It's very hard to keep up their game plans are more adjusted and their teams are a bit more prepared to see what's coming. And also, they overshot their real win value by 4 wins last year. That's a massive number. They're just clear regression candidates for me. Particularly if they don't start well. They've got 4 games at the Gabba. If they don't start well, they're in a lot of strife.
Yeah, 0-1 as well, losing to Hawthorn. And they need to fly in the next couple without all those home games to come later in the season. What else do we like? The Spoon. What are your thoughts there?
Moral, Gold Coast, can't get enough on. Young team. They're a young team, they're an ordinary team, they're fighting for survival. I wrote it in the preview, but if you really want to, if the around the $1.55, $1.60 quote's too short for to keep your cash tied up all year, a little double with the Gold Coast Titans. A Gold Coast Wooden Spoon double is not going to do you astray. They will both be coming last.
Get it out of the ASX and just put it into Gold Coast, just having an absolute stinker in both codes. There you go. Gamble responsibly. Let's get on to the player performance markets, which we love. I love a Coleman Medal bet and I love a Brownlow bet. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, Benny Brown for the Coleman. It's become a bit of a difficult market. Since the winning numbers kind of dropped below 70 the last few years. Winning numbers been 67, 65, 69 the last 3 years. Ben Brown's tallied 64, 61, 63. So he's finished within 6 goals the last 3 years. Look, he's on the up. He's a tough player, plays that traditional role. There's not a lot of complications about the ruse. Yeah, he kicked one in the opening week. I think he can have another good year. And I think he strikes me as someone who's going to play every game. There's not going to be resting with Benny Brown. So he looks the one in the Coleman around kind of the 4-1, 5-1 mark. And I know we both like this one. Absolute vote magnet. Patrick Cripps for the Brownlow. I don't mind the Blues, as mentioned above. He would have polled, in the first game, 31 touches in a loss. He always polls in a loss. He's polled 20-plus votes in each of the last 2 years, top 5 finishes. The Blues haven't been much chop. They're going to be better this year, so I'm very happy to be on Patrick Cripps, which I think is around $8.
Somehow drifted after probably polling 2 votes in round 1. He's out to 8 on the exchange. If the Blues are going to be half as competitive as you're suggesting, with Eddie Betts and Doherty and more wins and that young list getting better. Very, very hard. There's so many. It's hard to back a favourite in a Brownlow Medal market early for the season, but at $8, as you think, I can't imagine him not shortening significantly over the course of the season. Yeah,
look, I agree completely. Especially if Carlton come out and win a few games, you got to remember that there's fewer games to poll in now. So if you can poll a few threes and win, that's just going to go a long, long way to getting you home.
Hard to catch. Our Brownlow analyst, whose opinion I thoroughly respect as much as yours, he likes a couple of GWS boys at value, Caniglio and Kelly at the sort of 30s on the exchange. So maybe a little three-way dabble, a little rough action, and then just back the big fella as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think Caniglio is a red-hot runner as well. We all talked about how we like GWS this year. One of the problems with GWS is there's so many players who can attract votes. But I think Caniglio is an absolute genuine star. And he has got a long history of vote getting as well. So I think that he will definitely be around the mark.
All right, mate. So in summary, I think we want to be on the Weagles for the minor premiership, GWS your team for the flag, Cats back lay, my Bears are going to regress, Gold Coast are going to have another shocker, and Paddy Cripps, Morale.
Absolutely. And have a little bit on Benny Brown for the Coleman.
There you go. Bingo. We've summed it up well there. Thank you very much, mate. Very much appreciate your thoughts. Go to the Betfair Hub for more insight from the analysts every single week. You'll see Blues at the plus, West Coast at the minus, and you'll be filling your boots. 13% last year is incredible. Anything close to that again this year, we'll be very happy.